Five, four, three, two, one. We ready? We're rocking and rolling this morning with Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm Veronica Bartolini, your host for Unchained Hearts, and I'm here with our guest, and his name is Zan John. Good morning, Zan. How are you?
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It means a lot.
You're welcome. So, how was your morning? Where are you, by the way?
I'm at my house. I'm in my office at my house in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Awesome. So I don't have a bio on you, but I did speak to you briefly a few months ago when I first ran into your channel through Penny Bradley, and I was very appreciative of those interviews. It was awesome. And then I just found out that you had interviewed Joseph Powell. That was an awesome interview as well. So I just have a few questions. I was talking to a young man at the gym last night, asking him questions, and I've been asking some young people too, and older, of course, all kinds, all walks of life, certain questions. But just if you don't mind giving us a brief background of yourself, you know, what happened that you had an awakening, when that was, how it was, and when you decided to get into politics, or have you always been interested?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for asking. What is that noise?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say I had an awakening. I think I would uh, tie that in more to the terminology one would use with some sort of SSP or memory regain or some sort of hypnotic regression. I simply had a blossoming, if you will, I guess one could say, from a child into a man, got a serious reality check on how cruel this world is. Whenever I was working in oil and gas and I saw the injustices that happened in relation to deaths that could have easily been prevented, and it was at that moment I said, hell no, I'm not part of this group that I'm currently employed with. It was an out of body experience seeing how people, a microcosm of this peripheral sidebar is how people just acquiesce, don't say anything, put on their mask and take their shot and go to work. It's like, look, I don't like this, but I got to get my paycheck. That's really what happened at the previous corporation I was employed. Whenever I was working offshore, well, the top people in charge were like, no, cover it up. Oh God, they died like what peasants. Kind of, I'm putting words in their mouth, but that general attitude towards it. And I'm like, are you out of touch with reality? Like, what is going on? And so at that moment, I decided, no, I'm going to go to law school and I'm going to grow up one day and be a big politician. And I'm gonna actually do something instead of just sit and bitch. I never wanted to be someone that was, just sitting drinking coffee with one of the, the guys, just chit chatting. And even if I raised good points, I wanted to actually do something about it, get into the political arena, and have the minutia behind me. And if you know anyone that knows me personally, um, they will tell you not that I'm intimidating, but if I put my mind to it, and or if I say I'm going to do something, you better believe I'm going to come through. If I tell you the sky's going to be red tomorrow, you better plan accordingly, because that's my word and it means that much to me. So I knew that I wanted to get involved in the political arena and take a stand for humanity and try to help in unison with. I know you're part of this SSP community. I wouldn't say I'm part of it. I wish. I don't have any memory. I'm not cool like that. Okay, I'm an average guy that strives and refuses to sit back while these communists, or well, they call themselves Democrats or liberals, just erode our rights and make things worse. But you know what the worst part is, and I know I've answered in such a long, it's so wordy, I'm so long-winded. But what kills me is they sell all of this, these shots and these tracking devices and all this, just whatever part of their agenda, like we need it. And that's the insult to injury. And that's what I can't stand is the bold-faced brazenness, this bravada, this false minutia. It's like they're believing their own lies, and it's a crying shame. And they get the reality check with me.
Thank you, Zan, for that answer. I appreciate that. I do see that as well. I see it as they are selling it as truth. And these are the steps that, because we're the
They claim the moral high ground is what they do, you know?
say again.
They claim the moral high ground is what they do. Like, oh, I'm liberal.
Right,
I took my vaccine. Like, you, and it's like, look
right.
into anyway. But anyway, I want to let you continue.
No, no, it's fine. I have seen a few people in different companies where I do certain business. And I was talking to one lady and she said, yeah, I took the thing, but she's still wearing a cover. So it doesn't make sense. I feel it's all a pandemic. It's all part, as well as the AI nanobots that I saw in March 2020 on the corona part, the crown chakra part, where it's like a kind of like a DNA strand of AI with nanobots, and it is mixed in. Obviously, is going to be used with the 5G or whatever you want to call it, the high end radiation, and it's not just 5G that we're going into. We're going to 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, and it is also a mixture that they use with fear. So I told everyone, I said, okay, this is my vision. I saw boots on the ground. I saw people giving a white piece of paper to the military. I saw it all over the US. And I told them, don't buy into the fear. Later on, a year later, they were promoting the passport. Now, what are your ideas on the traveling passport? What do you think about all that as well? And what's another thing that I really want to ask is, what is the name of your party that you came up with? When you ran, what are different things that you're going to do different? Are you going to be talking more to the younger generation, older generation? I'm sorry, people are cleaning outside, the gardeners. I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to mute now. So I'm going to have you answer some things.
Not a problem. No. So that's a two-part question with a 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D. So the first deal is wait. So the first question is, how do I feel about what? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. How do you feel about the passport, the traveling thing?
So the passport has been war gamed, and it has been in UN white papers, has been a part of an agenda they wanted to push, and they feel confident in its announcement since they were able to get the masks all over everyone's face. Okay, so trust me, they have an agenda to get us completely enslaved and be absolute serfs that are on a smart city control grid with only certain foods and a certain amount of space that we can occupy. I promise you, if people think that's conspiracy, these elites do not look at us as part of them. We are free range humans. Also, 2A, the name of my party is the Gold Party. I am a registered Republican, but I wanted to disambiguate myself with the Republicans that don't act and the Republicans that let us down. Anytime there's someone out there putting themselves on the line as a politician and they do something that is not in the best interest of our country and our sovereignty, our prosperity, the economy, I want to immediately disambiguate from them, because I am not that. I will only take a step towards progress and actual, and none of this is air quotes, like a euphemism, and we're not meeting on the same terms, than in a literal, like in the definition, in the dictionary, progress, better infrastructure, revamping our schools, roads, everything. And none of this is some sort of term of art, and I'm not trying to create some sort of dog whistle to anyone else. This party is to return back to the gold standard, to actually give more fungibility and feasibility to our monetary system, and to get us out of the grasp of what's called planned interdependence, where we depend on other countries for the prices of things like oil, and we could be totally self-sufficient, but globalists don't look at this earth in terms of nations and peoples. They look at it as corporations that are behind the scenes controlling these puppet figures to keep the public at bay. And there's a movie about that where I think it's called The Network. People could look into that. What were the other things you wanted to ask me? How I feel about what?
Why should the younger generation or say the older generation, why should people like vote for you? What do you know, that, and then also what are you going to do with for us secret space program people? Are you going to be able, like, because I know you want to be a president as well, that's the ultimate goal. I would like to see some kind of something written to where we have our rights instated and our
We
classifications.
have our rights instated. Okay, they're just not being followed. We have a constitution, we have a Bill of Rights, and we had people, presidents like Dwight Eisenhower, feel bad at the end of his term and say, you know what, the military-industrial complex is out of hand, and I'm sure he wanted to say more. Okay, so what I will.
But then we have Kennedy, who was assassinated because he couldn't talk about the CIA and what was going on. I was already talked to about, you got to stop saying the word CIA. It's like, I'm not going to stop. We need to what are you going to do? How can you help targeted individuals as well? What are you going to do about V2K, if anything? These are hardcore questions. So, the community is just tired. The SSP people, my family, my brothers and sisters, they're like, when are they going to start believing us? What can you do about the media, the fake media that they have, programming people to think that just because we talk about UFOs and we talk about secret space program, oh, they're nuts. Oh, she was in a psych ward. He was in a psych ward. Don't believe him. I'm very passionate about this. I know it's a lot thrown at you, but here we go.
No, not a problem at all. Listen, I just want you to know I'm one man and I don't have tons of money. So it would take people getting behind me, registering under this party, the Gold Party, which is basically a Republican party that isn't going to allow any rhinos to get in and or last. So the more money and people, I can raise, because right now I'm a one-man band. Okay. All I can do, and I'm not some amazing superhuman. I'm just an average guy who doesn't like to take any crap. So all I can tell you is I'll shed tons of light on SSP, help it gain, ground that it needs, and hopefully that promulgates to the freeing of all these suppressed technologies. I have tons of big goals. It just depends where I can get practically. I can tell people what they want to hear and say, "Oh, X, Y, and Z," but I'd rather just tell people practically what I could get within a certain budget or a certain amount of time. If I actually did make it to Senate, I promise you I'd be the new Dr. No, I'd be the new Ron Paul, where I just vote no on all of these horrible bills and all these legislative measures that they're trying to pass. All I could do is really do damage control if I was a senator. I promise I could only be up there for 6 years, which is one senatorial term. And I promise you, all I would be able to, if I was, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's going through. Look at Dr. Rand Paul's going through. They hate these people, and they're kept out they're kicked off committees and everything. Just know, let's just say, snap my fingers on one right now. I'm in DC, right? I'm instantly blackballed because of my beliefs and the things that I care about and hold near and dear, and actually having a love for humans, and not going up there to make a profit, line my pockets, and help destroy this nation. Okay, so in a practical sense, I would simply have a soapbox, if you will, because I won senator. People would be tuning in, and there'd be tons of bad press, if you will, because the government, the media, the second I won, is going to run their mouth. I'll be the new Donald Trump. They're going to hate on me so much. So I will, with all the minutia of the negative energy, like a judo move, try my best to, with that platform with all eyes on me, like, hey, I know they probably say I'm racist, I'm bad, I'm this, that, and the other. However, I'm not. And there's a real alien threat, and there's a real ICC out there. And, while you're hating on me, America, let me actually rip that blindfold from you and tell you what's really happening, So in a practicality sense, it's not going to be peaches and cream whenever someone like me actually gets over there, because I'm a kick ass and take names, and they're going to want me to wear that mask, and I won't. They're going to want to make sure I was jabbed, and I'm not. They're going to want me to take a knee to Black Lives Matter, and I'm not. I am here to continue this nation's true agenda and continue what the founding fathers actually wanted: sovereignty and escaping a monarchy Well, now it's a techno, big pharma in hand with big tech and a runaway federal government. But that being the monarchy, if you will, to keep them in check. Look, I want a federal government. It's great. It's worked, but not one that's completely out of control and overstepping every bound. And when they can't get it through the Congress, the president will just pound it through executive order. And it's like, that's not even, you can't, okay, completely out of the scope of the threshold that a president is allowed to occupy. So it's a shame. And they rely on dumbing us down, keeping us eating fast food, drinking Cokes, keeping us, in fear with the mainstream media, which is, if people would just look into who owns what, it would start the whole unraveling process. Any person that's a liberal or says that, people like you and I are conspiracy theorists and we're crazy, all they have to do is see who funds CNN. Jeff Zucker. Who is Jeff Zucker friends with? Who funds Jeff Zucker? Like just pulling that one thread would, just open you up to the cosmos of this elite infrastructure. But people don't want to. People don't have time, or they don't make it a priority. They're waiting at red lights. They're scrolling on their phone. They're trying to get some food. They got to work for some oppressive boss that doesn't care about them and just wants to, make a certain profit margin for their boss's boss. So it's a shame. People get caught up in this daily grind. And everyone should have a chance during the day. It should be incorporated that we all, have an hour or two where we just completely decompress, no 5G phone, no worrying about stress and focusing on ourselves and reflecting. Because if people spend more time reflecting, I promise you, they're going to know what they really want to do in life. And they're going to have to face fears and rise up to things they've probably suppressed. But it is good for mental health. Anyway.
Thank you. One quick question before I forget. Do you believe in Bitcoin or?
I sure do. Every other coin is a trash coin. Just, you have Elon Musk, who everyone thinks is this superhero, but he's really just a spoiled child who was born into a very affluent family. And he relies on government subsidies. And, he drove down the other day, that just in case this is dated, if someone watches this at another time in the future, in May, he drove down the price of Bitcoin by design because they want to get rid of all the frail and weak investors, and so that they can buy up more. And they'll have China step up and say, "Oh, we're going to get rid of Bitcoin," but they have their own coin, Chinese, that they can diminish the value or track and all this stuff. Bitcoin is the original gangster, the OG of digital currency, okay, and it's decentralized. And that's why all these big banks that want power don't want you to have it. So there's always some bad news about it. Bitcoin is awesome. I advise people go to Swan Bitcoin, swanbitcoin.com. I'm not paid by them at all. I invested through them, through that site. And it took 10 days, to set up my wallet, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of protocol involved. You got to prove who you are. But after about maybe 2 weeks, you'll be able to actually invest because they want to make sure you are who you say you are, yada, yada, yada. But it even though it is a volatile market right now, it's only going to continue. And you can mark my words, if people invest in it and lose their ass one day, come find me. I'm at 211 Biltmore Way, Lafayette, Louisiana. I promise you, this is good. And it adds to our sovereignty. Just like years ago when that personal computer first came out, it kind of took power out the hands of the government. We could, keep our own notes and this and that, and do things on our own and create our own little world on our computer. The personal computer decentralized power and information for a little while. And that's what this Bitcoin does. So everyone, should have your own computer and invest in Bitcoin.
Thank you for that. I was listening to someone say that Bitcoin is alien technology, that it's another way of tracking people because of the metal or the nanites that are in there. Also, they were saying that the actual real money, we can say, is gold and silver. And so a lot of people are trying to just go back they say, the founding fathers, saying that gold and silver was the actual real money. And now if you notice, the quarters, the dimes, nickels, whatever, they're not even silver anymore. So there's this other policy, this other thing that's going around saying that they want to take our silver. Okay. I just got my catalytic converter broken, taken from my Forerunner, and it has platinum, silver, gold, you name it. They melted down and it's untraceable. My mechanic said they got about $1,000 off it, but that really, it just upset me. And then the next day I saw that they were, the on Facebook they were saying that they're taking back, they meaning the cabal powers that be, the silver back,
Powers that
the
shouldn't
gold back. Say again.
the powers that shouldn't be. That's how I address them. When people
Right.
like use this, it's so many people acting in unison, but trust me, they have the cash and the credit to turn out your lights, and they're bloodthirsty, and they enjoy this. They get off on negative energy. So
Right.
that
And real quick, sorry, Zan, but it's what is kind of upsetting is, a lot of people are you know, they do the silver, they drink silver, or it's a silver, the colloidal silver. And I feel, right, I feel that that's going to be the next step. Okay. They got the China and Mexico, with the whole metal stuff, with the vehicles and stuff. So they've taken the metal, they've taken the copper. Years ago, they were stealing copper as well.
rare.
Now that silver, what else? What can you do about that?
What
I
can I
mean,
do?
have you heard anything?
There's an unspoken allegiance with China for specific rare earth rights. Rare earth is all your minerals used to make batteries and or jewelry, things in the electricity industry, wiring, things like that. If you'll read in UN white papers, there is an agreement, quasi-agreement with China for doing what the globalists bidding, and being a puppet of the globalists, or a faction of the globalists, if you will. You get to have exclusive rights on rare earth mining and manufacturing. So that's why in America there's such a push for, and I know everyone probably couldn't avoid it the last couple of days, is this whole Ford Lightning coming out. Hey, oh my gosh, let's all move to electronic vehicles. But that's so that we can't mine it. They're shutting down, if not completely shut down, all of our rare earth mining, things like lithium and uranium, and send all that work over to China, so that we have to buy these rare earth components from China. Okay, who is doing things that the elites want. The Rockefellers, they're the ones that put Mao Zedong in power and funded him. The same, IBM funded some of Hitler's projects. More on that later. I'm just saying, this is all to spread money and for planned interdependence. But as far as stopping that, that has to do with our tariffs and treaties and things on that level, mandates and laws, and on that level. From an international law standpoint, we have to take the power back. But Joe Biden, he's just the puppet. He's just the husk for the powers that shouldn't be. He's just handing away our sovereignty and our power to the highest bidder. Excuse me, that's what him and Hunter, have made a career in doing. They don't care who has to die and what Americans lose jobs. They want to line their pockets and apparently sniff little girls and smoke Parmesan cheese. And I'm not trying to be funny. Anyone who looks into these people, they're
You said the word cheese, and yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, what are your plans on taking down pedophilia as well, if you get elected? Because cheese.
About it. I know it exists.
You said cheese, and that's a code word for child. Okay. Chicken, children, sauce, adrenochrome. So you got to be careful, like especially when you're in politics now, like kind of like look into that, because those are code words. And another question that I had was, why is it that you're showing your wine collection? What is it with the high-end menu prices, or whatever, your dinners that you post on your Facebook? Are you a Mason, and what number are you?
No, well, so I got my third degree in 2010. Whenever I was operating as a roustabout in Jennings, I was always watching Alex Jones since about 2008. Whenever I was weeding one day on my father's property, Pete Lejeune came up. His wife is a secretary for my father, and he had a big, nice Dodge Cummins, and he came up while I was weed eating on a break. He's like, "Hey, man, Obama's got elected president. Isn't that crazy? Da da da." I was like, "Yeah, it's horrible." And he said, "You need to listen to Alex Jones." So I started listening to Alex Jones, and in this packet of Alex Jones DVDs that I was handed that day, there were some that talked about Freemasonry and how Freemasonry is bad and all this crap. I never really heard of that. I was like, "What is this?" Then I just Googled the state in Alexandria Freemason Masonic Lodge and said, "Hey, I live in Crowley, Louisiana." This is all 2008. I said, "Hey, this is the Masonic Lodge," and they're like, "Yeah, Grand Lodge. How are you?" I was like, "Hey, yeah, I wanted to join." They're like, "Okay, well, you don't join here, like dumbass number 10,000. You join a local lodge that you're close to." So the closest lodge I was to in that time was the Crowley Lodge, number 243. So when I tell you I was sweating bullets when I joined, I was like, what kind of forbidden knowledge? Like I was thinking like anti-gravitic, all this stuff. It was the most underwhelming thing in my entire life. Like it's underwhelming. And it's whenever I was there, it was a whole bunch of retired men that reheat old red beans and talk bad about Obama. And that was like 2008, 2010. I got raised to the Sublime degree in 2010 when I turned in what's called your catechism, which it's a very religious group. And I'm not religious at all because I know all about this SSP stuff, especially now. So that answers that. What was the other question? So I'm a Mason. All the wine stuff. Okay, I'm obsessed with wine. It's a huge passion of mine. I love to eat out. To me, each day is a gift, and life is very short. Life is very arbitrary. So what do I seek in life? Nice things. I love to show off my sophistication with all this good wine, and I love to teach wine. I always teach about wine. Wine is best stored as a memory. It's a very social thing, and instead of something like I don't know art or gold bars that you can't really share with people, I can always crack open a bottle of wine and have a good time with someone, and it goes great with food. I had the opportunity to go to wine school, and my father was really big into wine, and that's kind of how I got into it.
Real quick, Zan, thank you. You mentioned the gold bars. Do you have any gold bars?
No, I don't have any.
There's a big thing with the white hats putting all these coded things. You mentioned Alex Jones. I don't know if he uses codes because I hardly listen to any. I do what you just said earlier. I go in within and I answer a lot of my questions. If I don't have all of them, obviously we don't have all the answers, but
I just want to make it clear, since you keep on asking, I didn't know that cheese meant something, gold bars. Look, I'm not talking in any terms
no, I know that, Dan, but I'm telling you what's going on right now. Okay. These people, okay, we have the love and light community, we got SSP, we got all kinds of people here on earth, but then we got the people here in the middle. Every day they're sharing information on the white hats, like, oh, go buy some Zen bar, go buy some Zen. The QFS thing. Have you heard of the QFS? Quantum physics supplement or money that's supposedly owed to us all from the government. Okay. Nasara, we're being promised by these white hats every day. Go buy Zim, then sell it on this day, May 15th. Oh, and their plan supposedly, because I've talked to these people on a daily, and they're so programmed. I've listened to a few of those, YouTube videos that they've sent me, and I'm like, okay, they have code words in there that does not make sense. It's like a robotic person.
Yeah. No, I don't know any of this.
No, real quick, Zen, but what I'm saying is people are being told to stand down, that the military's taking care of it. Military's taking care of pedophilia. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds like Q, and Q is something I never indulged in. We don't know who it is, and it's a big counter move to have all of us patriots run off a cliff, metaphorically speaking. If I don't know who's putting it out, if I don't know the reputation of who's leading this group, I'm not into it. Q made people feel good. It sold a lot of what I like to call hopium, and they do the whole two truths and a lie stuff. This whole all the stuff you just mentioned, I want to completely disambiguate myself. I know nothing about it, and I will not comment on something I know nothing about without giving plenty of pretext saying I don't know what I'm talking about. So if we could move over that subject, I don't know. Like I told people to get into Bitcoin. I know what I'm talking about. I've bought it. I speak from experience. I gave people a good vendor. This other stuff I do not know, and I want to just avoid it.
I feel that one of the reasons why they're getting people into Bitcoin as well and going paperless or whatever is it has to do with the war in Iraq. And I'm going to just touch on it a little bit just to educate or edumacate, like they say. A lot of soldiers, I don't know, I don't want to say good, bad, just a lot of soldiers stole gold bars. Okay, when the reign in Iraq, Saddam Hussein thing. Okay, so now their whole thing is to sell, you know, these other things like Zim and or whatever to get the QFS rolling to actually find out who actually stole the gold bars. See, it's kind of like a backward way psychological. It's so messed up right now. That's why I just wanted to touch just a little bit on that, Zan, because you know you are running for politics.
You can ask me anything. The last girl I've been with, I don't care. I'm here to tell everyone the truth. Look, I'm not living a lie. I have a lot of people in my family that are extremely wealthy, unlike me, which is a lot of people find hard to believe, but it's just because I'm flashy and I used to make money. Trust me, it's no way to live the way I'm living now. However, you know, they're insulated from reality, unlike me, and they're all out living a lie, doing things behind their, you know, significant others' back, and to me, it's just no way to live. I'm here to tell everyone what I know as I know it, and be their voice. Look, I'm riddled with flaws. I'm not perfect. Okay, I love to eat out. You know, I mean, I can spout off all that stuff, but as far as BS people, hell to the no. To me, we just don't even have the time to do that. And I want to go down, you know, as a leader, and I'll die for this country, and I will die for this freedom, and I'll die just to get the SSP, you know, lid blown open. You know, I mean, it's just humanity cannot on this planet cannot continue in this fashion of suppression and arrested development. And you know, if I have to be that little cornerstone, then you know what, sacrifice me. I just want it done. That way, at least maybe in another life, I can look back and say, wow, I actually did something. I just don't ever want to be the guy that never got off his couch, never did anything. You know, I can't be that. I will fight, fight, fight. And I'm not, you know, I've had tons of time to self-reflect since I was let go unjustly, May 1, 2018. Okay. I am ready to fight, and I'm ready to die, you know, metaphorically speaking, for the most part. And I'm not suicidal or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, I want to stand for something great, and I really want to give back to this country and this earth that's given me a wonderful life thus far.
Thank you, Zan. Uh, on a lighter note, I guess we'll go in another direction, because I did write down some of the questions that this young man asked me yesterday.
Oh, you come on with ask me everything.
Just, you know, we'll go back to the other things, because I do want to talk about, you know, you were talking about, you know, the society or the powers that should not be, like you say, with the meat. You know, I noticed yesterday when I went to Costco, the meat has gone up. It's only like maybe for 4 or 5 pieces, it was like $45, $50. I'm like, what the hell?
With anything significant, you know, this is Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and their directives. Their meetings at Davos, which is a place in Switzerland. These big think tanks, you know, they want to corner us from every angle. And I want to highly promote this guy who breaks it all down so thoroughly. You will have no questions in food costs or anything. You will completely understand and know how to take action if you follow this guy. His name's Christian, and his YouTube channel and his Odyssey and everything, his handle on across everything is Ice Age Farmer, like an ice age and a farmer who goes out and plants stuff. Ice Age Farmer, his name's Christian. All he does is study the USDA, the FDA, what Klaus Schwab is announcing from Davos out in Switzerland, you know, where soybeans are being traded, and, you know, Brazil and China's, you know, how much they're buying, how much they're selling. This guy breaks everything down. I listen to him religiously, and he can go into further depth about all of that, but he could help you and anyone understand these by design, rising cost and foods like beef that have the good fats that are good for your brain, because they want to price that just like petroleum vehicles out of existence. That way you, the end consumer, the average American, okay, has to go buy synthetic meat with all these, xenoestrogens and all this fake stuff that's GMO. And they want to get used to that. They want to get rid of the notion of someone being self-sufficient, raising their own cattle and butchering it. The government wants their hand in everything. Okay, if you don't depend on them in some facet of your life, they want to force their way in, and they'll find a way through some crooked mandate or something. But Bill Gates is totally into this, and Klaus and his daughter Nicole Schwab. I'm telling you, Google these people. Please Google everything. I don't want anyone to believe me. I want everyone watching this. Google, double check, be like, you know what? I don't believe a damn thing Zan says. Good, go out and do your research, please. I beg you.
Thank you. Yes, speaking of this pandemic and the new world order that they want, which I do not consent to, and I do not consent to this coming up either. It's called G Mafia. G Mafia, G for Google, M for Microsoft. We have Facebook, Apple, Instagram, Amazon, and so Amazon's taking over. Jeff Bezos is wanting to take over. I do not consent to this crap. They have the smart cities that they're starting in Las Vegas. They sold California already to China. And I was just there in North California about a week and a half, actually 2 weeks ago. And I was driving with a friend up in the Grand Sierra mountains, okay? And we couldn't go any further in a road. And this person says, well, I haven't been here in a while. What they did is they blocked the roads. There was hardly any traffic. What it is that they're selling the land rights to these people that should not be in power, and they're taking they're taking the land, they're raping the land, they're taking the water sources. It just upset me. They had a sign there, they're talking about the water, the electricity being taken.
California surface rights, or we're talking federal land in California surface rights being given away to or sold to foreign corporations to harvest our minerals.
Being sold to the bankers in space, we'll call them, because we have black ops, we have bankers in space, we have bankers here. The Galactic Federation, you got to be careful with the Galactic Federation also, because some of them are working with, we'll say, the wrong side of the politics. I used to be really involved in politics in high school and college. I used to, put up the signs for people. I was a Democrat, then I turned Republican. And then now it's like, I did vote for Trump because I thought he was going to, come out with the Space Force and things like that. And obviously he's hiding. They say Joe Biden is already killed off. He's a clone. He's having malfunction, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, what am I trying to say? Going back to G Mafia, they're, the smart cities, they're starting with California. That's why they, are trying to run out the homeless and making all these buildings for everything to be used and owned by smart thing. You mentioned the cars also. Elon Musk is also, they say, oh, huh?
You want Agenda 2030, you want Agenda 2050.
Yeah, all that, and it's people are gonna just be able to be scanned in the future. And if somebody has a cough or a fever, stand here, we'll scan you.
We have to raise enough where we can stop this. We could have a renaissance if we want to. I always say we could be a cancer-free, spacefaring civilization if we could just stand up, not be cowards, and go against these powers that shouldn't be. There is an agenda for as far as they will, as the human population will let them take us. Okay, so you're talking about these smart cities and this maybe coffin apartments, 200 square feet living space for everyone, and constant inoculations because we're considered lab rats to them. That's already been war gamed years ago. They sit and they already have this agenda ready. It's like a bullet in a clip. Like they have to get through the first bullets to get down to this one. The more, as the bullets go down the clip, if you will, this crazy metaphor, they get worse and worse and worse. So, like we already acquiesced to mask. Okay, here comes vaccine. We already acquiesced to that. Okay, like they're just gonna, people need to realize that there has been a war game plan for every step of this. And everything that is being pushed by the powers that shouldn't be, masks, vaccines, this is all beta tests on us humans to see how softened up is the population. Okay, not softened up. People are, alpha males are stepping up. Okay, let's pump out more estrogen. Let's worship Caitlyn Jenner, which is a man. It's let's continue to soften up, this generation. And if we don't properly educate the up and coming generation, and if we sit back and do nothing, silence acquiescence is still compliance. So people might not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. And in Donald Trump's defense, I will say, he was a maverick. You judge a man by his enemies. Donald Trump busted his ass for us and gave up a very nice life. Okay. And I don't necessarily sip the Trump Kool-Aid. He did make some bad calls with pride. He stuck to this whole vaccine story. That was crazy. But it's because he can't trust anyone around him. Everyone around him is so highly compromised. Just everyone that is on his right and left and that he deals with on a day-to-day basis, was being threatened constantly. Okay. And they can't bounce back like Donald Trump. Donald Trump could, have maybe one bank threatened. He probably has 35. The average person, the bureaucrat working, his elbow clerk, if you will, if they're threatened or even, get a mean phone call, they probably freak out and, just couldn't do, Trump with his administration, especially when it was known that unelected Biden was going to be propped up. People just wanted to hop on board the winning team. It was like nothing personal to him. Donald Trump caught so much flack because he was over the target, and he is the rightful president to this day. Okay. And I'm glad you voted for him, but it's a shame that they stole so hard in 2020 as opposed to 16 that our votes really didn't even matter. And that's a crying shame. So I also stand for election integrity in Maricopa County, Fulton County, Wisconsin, and all that kind of stuff. But please don't give up on Trump that quick. We'd be in a much bigger bind without him. And that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just I gave up on politics. I didn't vote this time around this year, whenever it was in November last year, because I just see it, Dan, no offense, it's just I see it as like okay, we got religion. Okay, we got this religion against that religion. We got the Black Lives Matter against the white people. If I'm white complexion, I'm considered white. It's like, what the hell? The politics, Republican and Democrat, they're still puppets. They're still being used.
Why I disambiguated myself and started my own party. I mean, I'm essentially a Republican at heart. I stand for the Constitutional Republic of 1776. Okay, I'm here to continue that. But I never want to be infiltrated. And look, it's very tough being a one-man band. Okay, standing up like I did, it's been a lot worse. People. I made myself such a target for such ridicule. I still would do it, and I'd do it again. Okay, because when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to know that I did everything I could to keep this nation free and help all these child trafficking and bring disclosure to the SSP. Okay, not that I ride a high horse or better than anyone. I'm just saying, again, I'm not the kind of person that sits back. Okay, that's not me. And these Republican, there's a lot of people that wrap themselves in their Republican flag and pose as Republicans, but go and do nothing and collect a check and they're part of the whole bacon wrapped shrimp club. And that's not an altruistic reason. I want people to see who I really am, okay, so that they know I am the definition of altruism. If I were to ever win, I promise I just keep my iPhone on live the whole time. You can watch me every step I take, every breath I take. I'm not here to live a lie. I'm here to, just make life better. That's the whole reason people get in politics in the first place. And I can't sleep at night knowing I didn't stand up, I didn't try. I'm young, I'm healthy, and I gotta do what I can while I can on this earth in this 3D bodysuit. So to not step up like I did, I view it as it would be a waste of this life given.
Yes, thank you. About the saving of the children, have you heard that we are helping to save the children. And then there's other people that say, well, that's been going on for a long time. They see it as normal. They see it as, people have been so desensitized, and it's pretty sad. So do you, one of my, I guess, dreams was, my thing is, yes, we are saving the children, but once they come out, okay, to the surface, they're not going to be able to look into the sun. They're going to have to wear these special blue glasses or whatever I see. We're going to need the schools. Do you have any aspiration to maybe helping the community or us or whoever wants to do the school for the children? Different, maybe we can get like different housing for them, medical help, some way of how do you say, integrating them back into society?
Integrate. So to integrate them into society. Listen, with all the money politicians steal and the huge black budget, if we can rip money away from that, we could be able to afford all these refugees a Rolls Royce and like a $5 million house. Okay, so there's tons of money out there, and with as much money as Biden is printing, right now currently, I mean, we could completely, yeah, I'd love to set up institutions for that. Setting up those institutions, though, would cause lots of people who are keeping those children against their will and involved to be compromised. So we see not only will we have to build an institution, we're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to disambiguate themselves from that previous line of work, which is extremely profitable, and or that's just the lifestyle they live. They like to consume or just do stuff with these children. It just makes me sick. I don't even want to think about it. But we would have to have a two-part institution. One, a Department of Justice that would actually crack down on these people and basically just execute these people on sight if they're caught in these cages with children or manipulating them. That needs to be ended because we need to send a message. We can't even let these people stand trial or anything. Like it needs to be swift so that word travels fast so that we can release these children. To even, like, I had such a good childhood, just to even think about that is just so sick. I love mentoring children, and I have such a, I don't know, it just makes me so sad. That's just so sick. Yeah, to reintegrate them back into society, yes, ma'am, that would be easy. I mean, with all we have to do is get the public money directed towards that avenue, and just think of the name for the institution. Impacted child reintegration. ICR, and set up ICR buildings everywhere and get these kids back normal if we even can.
Yeah, that's my goal too. And you did actually read my mind on the next question, because I was going to ask you, it's like, do you think they should stand trial? To me, I think they should be executed on the spot as well, because this has been going on for a long time.
Immediate, yeah. We're not even going to give them the benefit of the doubt in a lot of this stuff. I mean, to even be in that realm, I mean, there's so much going on that the surface population doesn't know about. But if they only knew what's going on underneath our feet and just above the stratosphere, people's heads would spin. Their heads would explode. I mean, it would dissolve all religious factions and cause us to unite. But we're kept dumbed down by design. And again, I can't live a lie. I know these things are really going on. Otherwise, you and so many other people wouldn't speak out. Even though I don't necessarily speak from outer space experience. I've never been in an underground lab or anything. The government does their absolute best to censor people talking about that and not let us step foot on places that our tax dollars are paying for, like everyone, Area 51, things like that. So these things definitely really do exist. And certain people have tried to warn us, Trump, Eisenhower, JFK, but they've all been hindered. And it's a crying shame. That's what happens to a maverick like Eisenhower, JFK, or Trump. You got to cut these guys some slack. They're one guy going in against a whole cabal, just like me. I'm one guy just trying to breach the barrier so I can go up against the cabal. Imagine the hatred and BS that would come out about me. Let's just say I make it in 2022 next year. Okay, let's just say I'm in Washington D.C. Can you imagine, like, the soapbox that the liberal media is going to give AOC just to attack me? And every time I have some sort of logical answer, to rebut her, that's not going to get me airtime, So, I mean, I'd have to spend half of my salary on security, you know, if not all of it, just to stay alive for 6 years.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's crazy how like Elon Musk wants to, oh, let's go to Mars. Like it reminds me of the movie Interstellar where they had to end up in Saturn. It's like we've already been to Mars. We've already,
Yeah.
we've been in the moon, and he's not the richest man in the whole world. It's like he's a puppet as well. And he is trying to get these, these smart cars, Tesla. It's like if you have a Tesla and you're late on a payment, it's just gonna drive itself back to the owner. It's like really, and then it's another way of having the EMPs or the DEWs, the do weapon, blow people up and another way of tracking. Anyway, I'm gonna try and not get off target off issue, but there's one more question that I really have to ask, and it's okay too. What about women's rights? Because a lot of people are into abortion, and abortion, the kids are used. They find a way to keep them alive and use them for their body parts and adrenochrome. And then also gay and trans rights. What do you think about that?
Let's stop there. Let me answer. Okay, so I am completely anti-abortion unless someone was raped or it's like a family incest. Like I am for 99%.
But why if somebody was raped? It's not the child's fault. But I do understand.
A woman shouldn't have to have someone that she didn't consent to. I don't, or there needs to be some sort of adoption process. But still, she has to carry that for 9 months, and she didn't. If she was held down against her will, we'll have to address that by case basis. Okay, and that seems like a very rare instance, but maybe walk a mile in someone's shoes that went through that. Okay, but as far as just the normal, for the mass majority, abortion should be abolished, and we need to destroy Planned Parenthood. I want to kick them out of the state of Louisiana, and subsequently the nation, and then subsequently the world. It just depends how far I can get in this life practically. And then also gay and trans. Listen, I'm probably going to upset a lot of people, but I'm not into it. I don't understand. At this point in life, especially with all these abortions, we need to be making more people and supporting homosexuality or trans, even bi. It is not something that's going to result in the further prosperity or replenishment of humans. I think all of that, if you don't want to be the sex you are, I don't even know how to help you. I always identified it. Can't relate with not wanting to be a man. I know I'm straight. I've never had any different kind of thoughts than wanting to be with women. So I really am not a good advocate for that at all. In a nutshell, if we're going to continue this nation and not get laughed at and be strong and survive through whatever kind of Holocaust or anything, we need straight people having straight, intimate time at night, and we need the nuclear family. And I just think society has become too decadent if they want to resort to homo and trans acts. I'm not for it. I'm all about straight, just nuclear family, having babies, raising them in the proper way with a mother and a father. To me, that's all stuff that goes against nature. There's a reason a man has an outlet and a female has an inlet, and biologically it goes together. So there's that.
I understand. It's just that I have a lot of friends that are actually stuck in the body that they didn't want to come in with. I feel it has something to do with the Anunnaki playing a joke on them, and
Yeah.
there are, when we're out there, before we come in, they say, okay, that we are both male and female. They say that a gay person was not born gay because they wanted to or they became one. So I feel that it has a lot to do with the things, we'll call it the vaccine, thing that they want to put in the shoulder. I know as a kid, when I was a kid, my mother would say that there was somebody in Mexico. It was her male friend that was being given these, vaccines, like Miles Johnson calls it, for them to stop having the gay tendencies. And also the children that were given that as well, some of them became autistic, some of them got polio, some of them, so to me, I respect the gay and trans community because I have family and friends. I do understand their struggle. I do understand that they hate their bodies. Some of them hate their bodies because they're supposed to be females, but they're stuck in a male body. Now there is the other side, that is perversion, and that I don't agree with. I just don't agree with that at all. If a child is already born female and she's happy being female, don't come over here and tell me, what, you can be a guy if you want. No, I don't. It has to be up to the child. It has to be up when they're older. To me, I don't feel that it's right for them to infiltrate the schools at such a young age, 3, 4 years old, saying, look, you could be this. No, I think that the person, the entity itself, the soul has to when they're older, say, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to have a sex change or whatever. That's my opinion. And I respect yours. So thank you for answering that.
Well, yeah, you did a good job further refining the scope of that answer for me. Yes, I just forgive me for not having that much compassion until you explained all those details. So thank you. What else?
Well, we have 10 minutes. Let's see, I have one more, I think. Oh, you already answered that. So, okay, real quick, what do you know about the Secret Space program? What was your first, I know you talked a little bit about that, but what was your first experience with, how did you find out about it? Did you have friends?
It goes back to being a child, okay? When I was a little boy, I never believed in God. I just thought it was a crock of shit. And I was like, no, there's just no way. There's some guy in a beard out in the sky waiting, for me to go to heaven so I can live forever. I was like, that's just not life. Like, look how, I don't know, a dog gets hit and rolled over and just rots and dies on the side of the road. Like, I just saw the natural life cycle and just never respected the notion of religion. That's as a very young child. But, I had to keep it to myself because I was the oddball out. As I got older and I would voice my opinion on things, and I was like, well, what about dinosaurs? What about this? What about that? Like, what about things we can't deny? People just overlook it and be like, nope, baby Jesus. And I'm like, that's fine. And I think religion instills some good morals. Okay, I'm not a religion hater. I just don't indulge in it, if you will. And I always was looking for answers. And before all this heavy censorship, I was always looking into UFOs, and I just had a feeling that there was pyramids and obelisks on other planets, just on a subconscious level. I was like, there's no way, from what I know from space and this galaxy, one of trillions, sextillions of galaxies, that we're the only, and just to me, evolution nor the Bible made sense for why life was here on a subconscious level. So I just always was looking for answers. And in my looking for answers, I would look at things like Nuke's Top 5 on YouTube and Secure Team 10 and just other handles, other creators before they were shut down or whatever. And I got led to James Rink, and when I saw his stuff, it was the cornerstone dropped in, right where I needed. I was like, I knew I wasn't crazy my whole life. It was such a validation to something I just knew that had to be out there. So when I heard James Rink, I was like, wow, they go into such depth. These are not tinfoil wearing hat people. Though they might be a little eccentric, not that I have room to talk, look the way I dress and carry myself and the things I have in the background, but I think they're very altruistic because you have real people coming in with real emotions that are dropping real names and places, and their stories never change. So I said, you know what? I'm going to host people. I want to do something. I want to validate this because I catch too much flack for saying we're not the only ones on Earth and we're not the apex of this food chain. And so many people just want to like instantly tone you out the second they hear that. And I'm like, let me give body to it. That way, if anyone ever wants to look into it, I will have irrefutable testimony and resources for people to look into. So I've never really had an experience. Seen a couple meteors, heard a couple weird things at night, but that's about it. Oh, I will say, hold up. I did have a green orb come to me in 2018. That was pretty crazy. But outside of that, I've really had nothing. You know, if it wasn't for YouTube and Zoom, you know, connecting all of us, I'd still be here wondering, you know, what if and how. But the more I've learned, it's crazy. The more you learn, the more questions you have. I'm telling you, telling you. Now that I know what I know now, I have so many more questions. But anyway, there's that.
True. How did the green orb feel? What was your experience, and what is the drawing behind you?
Look, let me tell you, it was. I was walking out of the Hilton with my ex-girlfriend and a big-time attorney. I just looked up at the sky. About 100 feet away was this little green orb, and then the second I locked eyes with it, it was glowing green. It like stopped, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And as I was like, kind of like, "Wow," taken aback, it did like a C shape and just took off like that. And I was like, "Whoa, that's it. That's it." Like I know that's probably so underwhelming compared to anyone that has recovered memories, this, that, or the other, you know, or you know, Phil Schneider or you know, John Lear. But I just that really happened, and there's that for what it's worth.
Do you feel like it was I don't know, how did it feel? Did it feel like do you have spirit guides? Do you think it was part of your
I don't know.
tribe? Anything?
I don't think I'm special. I have no idea what the hell it could be. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. I just know that it happened, and I can't make sense of it. But I never want to ever have a flattering disposition of something. I never want to succumb to my ego. I want to be on the straight and narrow, and that's it. How it made me feel, all it did was validate the fact that there's technologies that we as surface dwellers are unallowed to know, and we're not allowed to realize our true full potential. And that's a crying shame. And that's what I'm here to uplift. And that's what I'm here to disambiguate. I want to be an advocate, you know, and hopefully I inspire others. I just want to rub off good energy, good vibes. Okay. You know, I know I'm not crazy about the whole gay trans thing, but I promise, like, I wake up every day happy and I just want to help people. Um, you know.
Thank you, Zan. And yeah, there's a lot of technology that is hidden. I talk about the drones that are outside, the LiDAR that they can see where, you know, where you're going in and out of your bathroom, kitchen, whatever, where your weapons are stored, where they are at all times, tracking devices, and you know, and it comes from China. And it's funny, real quick, I just wanted to talk a little bit, just a tiny bit, like when DT he has this YouTube thing that he keeps saying China, 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 you know, and that's part of disclosure too. It's like the USA bankers are, you know, first of all, they sold us back to the Queen of England, okay, and then we have this, the US has this affiliation with China, so yeah, it's a very high possibility that it could have been, okay, I'm not saying it was, but it could have been some kind of tracking, you know, for you, just to make sure it was you, or who knows, it could have been your spirit guide. But anyway, real quick, what is the picture behind you? What does it signify? Did you draw it? And then how can people get a hold of you?
I got everyone's way here. This is a photo or some sort of painting my mother had in my little brother's room as a child. And whenever my mom moved, you know, my parents got a divorce. It just brings back childhood memories. As a child, this was in my brother's room above his crib. And these old drapes are from my old room, from my house in Crowley. You know, I could give a tour explaining everything in here. But I just like color. It's vibrant like me. I'm a very flamboyant person. I like nice. It just looks sophisticated. The reason I tried to have such a sophisticated background and things like that is, look, some people are going to kill me, but look, I just got to keep this 100. People, and I have no problem with them. Okay. But like Penny Bradley and Joseph Powell, they never come on looking too fresh, if you know what I mean. They never come on the show looking very dapper. Not that, listen, again, I'm going to say I have nothing against these people, but I want to add such credibility to this movement, especially being an outsider. You know, I don't have any memories or this or that. And I just want this whole SSP movement, if we're going to release it and actually gain some traction, we need to be marketable. We need to look like we know what we're talking about. And that's why I wear a suit. And I want people to see how sophisticated I am. Not that I'm better, but if I ever were to be attacked, hell no, then you'll see like the alpha male come out that is on his, you know, P's and Q's, you know, and it's like, I wish these people in this movement would take a little bit more care in their presentation, because I catch a lot of flack. And when people see me interview people like Tomas Alvin and things like that, I get made fun of, like, oh, Zan, you're interviewing crackheads and this, that, the other. I know how special these people are. I value Penny Barley. I've been listening to her for years. And I am flattered that Joseph Powell reaches out to me. But when these people look like they kind of just rolled out of bed, that's not helping our credibility. So,
Now, Dan,
yeah,
a lot of us have been tortured, okay? I have a program where I do, I wear a suit in Las Vegas, but just because that's just my program. I did a lot of business in high school and college, whatever. I had my own business, everything. But I feel it does not, I don't think it's right what you just said, but that's your opinion, because, a lot of people have been tortured, and a lot of people don't have perhaps the money to buy the nice clothes, or perhaps they were not taught, to dress up. I don't now about Alvin. I do understand that there are some people that are still stuck in the drugs and all that, and I'm so sorry. Somehow they have to get out of that. But it's just, I don't think it's fair, pretty much.
Well, I think this needs to be marketed, and me not even having experiences and coming out and wanting to advocate for the group that you've had experience in, I always wanted to make sure that this was marketable, and I wanted to. I'll use this analogy.
But that's part of the whole freaking matrix. The society. Oh, if you're not wearing a suit, you're not. I'm not voting for you, y'all. You know what I mean? If you look like a hippie, I ain't voting for you. It's just I understand what you're saying, but we're real people. Penny Brad is real. Joseph is real. I'm not saying you're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I respect them and everything. People should be more presentable, is what I'm saying, because I want interaction and I want us to actually get somewhere.
Thank you, Zan. I have to go on a trip myself, and I really wanted to do the whole 2 hours. But you don't mind being on again, or in a few weeks?
I'm at your disposal. This is the first time I was ever interviewed, so I'm just grateful for this experience.
You're welcome. How can people get a hold of you, and how can they donate to you and just talk to you?
All you got to do is Google me. It's really easy. Just Google Zan John. That's it.
Is that your real name, Zan John?
Well, Alexander, and Zan is short. Instead of Alex, I go by Zan, the middle syllable of Alexander. So Zan, my last name is John, Alexander Michael John. I think I have one of my business cards over here somewhere. I could hold it up. But yeah, my name's Zan John. I'm all first names.
Are you on Facebook, Instagram, websites?
Every facet. I'm definitely trying to get my name out there. So.
Well, I think a lot more people will contact you after this interview. And thank you so much, Zan. Thank you, Katie Camara, for having us on. And again, we're on Soma Fusion, Mind, Body, and Soul. And we'll be talking to you all soon. Thank you. See you later.